Alright, so I washed my hair today and I'm gonna actually dry it, which I try not to do every time I wash it, but anyway, my hair ultimately started coming out better when I refocused my product choice because I was using volumizing mousse, which works great, but it worked better when I had much shorter hair. It created fullness and size everywhere that I wanted it, which was like all over. It gave me that like fucking rock and roll look I was really going for. But as my hair is growing more and more, I was finding that it created a lot of volume and fullness and density at the ends where I didn't want any of that to keep happening. So I actually switched some of my products and I'm going to show you those now because I think that is ultimately what helped me in the long run, in addition to some of the techniques that I'll show you later. But pause. So my hair is towel dried, damp, not soaking wet, not dripping. And what I'm actually gonna do is go in with my hair oil first. Just that much. A little bit of this goes a long way, but it really adds more moisture, which I need because of this fucking winter static shit that I'm going through. And it has a heat protectant, and that's really important. It also detangles, but I'll warm that up. And really just focus on my ends with that. Not pulling it up too close to my roots because I don't want to get greasy. And I work kind of quick with that. And I might bring some of that actually up closer to my roots here where I over-processed my hair. So it's a little dry and fragile. So I don't mind getting that a little bit greasy. So the next thing I will use is my root spray. It's an Avita dupe from Sally's. I love this. It's for medium fine hair, which I have. And I like this because it creates the volume concentrated at the root as opposed to what the mousse was doing. So I know that I'll go in and just kind of find where I need the most lift, which happens to be my crown. I'm so sorry about this lighting. This is the best I could find. But again, I'm able to go in there with the roots and focus on getting more of my volume and lift there as opposed to my ends. Pause. I need like 12,000 gallons of coffee today. So you might have noticed I don't comb my hair. I actually comb it in the shower with my detangling wet comb, if you're wondering. I don't really feel like I need to comb my hair that often or as much as most people do. I don't get a lot of tangles, and my finger combing when I put styling products in just kind of does it itself. But the next thing I will do, so I applied the root boost, is I hate clean hair. So I like to add something with a little bit of tack that will help with the styling. I'm actually digging this fast form from Paul Mitchell, and I only use like maybe a dime size of this, and it helps hold a curl and create enough grip throughout my hair without building up volume. So I will go ahead and apply maybe a dime, maybe a nickel, that much, but I'll also go back in with another little squirt of my heat protectant, and I will warm those and blend those together in my hands and just rake it through, not going all the way up to my root. And I'll separate this a little bit because that's my part, and that's where all my hair seems to be, is just like right here. And I don't even apply all of it that's on my hands, so I usually just like use my towel and wipe that off. Then I'll actually go in and do like a flash dry to most of my hair until it's about 50% dry, and I will go in with my round brush. If you prefer a blowout with a brush, I really would recommend like a 2-inch brush. This is, I think, 1.5 inches to 3/4, and it works great for the underlayers, but as I get to the longer top, I wish I had a bigger brush, but I will actually go do that because you don't even need to do any of this, but I find that it has helped me ultimately with some of the smoothness and bulk of ends. I just prepped and dried my hair, and now is when I will go in and start curling it, and I'm actually going to show you how to do it with my straightener throughout my whole head, because that is the method that I use like 95% of the time. And the reason being, I get more of that lived-in curl with my straightener as opposed to like the Hasidic Jew look. Not hating on the Hasidic Jews, but that's just not the style I go for. And I just use my Remington 1-inch. With shorter hair, this is going to give you the exact style you want, the most consistently. So I do recommend the smaller straightening iron, and you'll see as I style my hair why I prefer the straightening method, but I will go in and show you with a few pieces on top how to do essentially the same thing with a curling iron. Right, so I will go ahead and section my hair, and this bottom section you can see like it's pretty smooth, isn't doing anything too funky, so I'm actually not even going to touch this with a straightener or anything. If for some reason this was like curling out from my head like some fucking like vintage yearbook picture, I would probably just straighten it and not spend too much time doing much, because other hair lays on it, you don't fucking see it, don't waste your time. So then I go into my next section, and this is generally where I will start styling. But I don't curl all of my hair, I don't curl most of it. I really focus on creating movement and texture, and then I focus on creating tighter curls on top layer and closer to my face. So you'll kind of figure out what that means for you as you style and where your hair specifically lands, but I know that most of this shit going on isn't visible. So what I will actually do is take the narrow sections near my face and create a little bit curl there, so away from face. And if this is the front, that's the back, that's a half. I consider that and that 1.5. So again, the narrow section, then I'll go front, other side, half, and down. And I'm not focusing on like really squeezing this tight. I just want to get my hair to slide through without tugging, pulling, and ripping. And I want to just make sure the heat touches it a little bit. Now, I'm not in love with this curl, but I don't really worry about any of that until the absolute end. Then on the same section, what I go through and do is I take fairly narrow, thin, whatever, maybe like 1-inch sections, and I don't take them any wider than the length of the plates. And I actually just kind of like fold down, smooth, fold up, smooth, fold down, straighten. And you can see that that creates similar to a curl. And that's what I mean about creating movement. This will blend in and it will save you a lot of time, but it will also leave a flatter surface for the top layers to land on. What I found was the more I focused on curling each and every hair, the less my hair looked the way I wanted it to look, and it would just like have curls piling on top of curls. So again, I just crimp around, crimp, fold, whatever. I'll show you one more time on this side. So I kind of smooth, fold, smooth, fold up, smooth, fold down, straighten the ends. Now I'm gonna go ahead and do that all the way around my head. And when it comes to styling the back, I kind of just intuitively grab and style, because I know that most of my other hair is going to lay on top of this, and again, if no one can fucking see it, then don't waste your time. Just create movement so that it blends in. And then when I'm done styling my hair entirely is when I will go in, and then I'll start to focus a little bit more on the back and fixing and styling the pieces that you can see. So with my hairline, you can see that this next section is going to start taking top layers of my part. So I will actually section out here generally and leave this top bit kind of off to the side. It usually falls forward as I'm styling. And I will start on this side of my hair because you can see where that kind of was an issue for me. So again, where this is more visible, I'm just going to do that 1.5 and down. And I take kind of skinny sections here, as opposed to like thin this way. They're thin this way. 1.5 and down. I have never done this in a selfie cam, so this is new and exciting. So I just did that one because I don't even know where that is gonna land, but I know other shit is on top of it, so I'll just make it move and I'll go in and fix it up if it's a problem later. Jesus, there we go. 1. Fucking backfired. 1.5. Down. And I'm gonna go ahead and do that around my whole head. Alright, so as I was continuing to go around, I found this one spot that bothers me, and I decided to show you how I kind of treat spots like that. So I still just go in, smooth a little bit, 1.5, and pull. But when I get towards the end of it, I'll actually just twist and like so, and pull. And you can see it just sits a little bit flatter without losing the curl entirely. And see, so this is what I mean. So when I can start seeing this stuff, that's when I'll go in and hit that 1.5 and down. One half down. And if it gets a little too weird, you can just tug on it as it cools. And again, some of this, like, I'm not perfect at it, and I don't really care about most of this until I'm done entirely. So now I'm gonna go and finish the whole head. Alright, so right about here is probably where I'll focus less on a curl again. Get this the fuck out of my face. Because my part I wear that way, most of this is just gonna get piled on top of my other hair, and I know that is going to create curls that wind together and they end up being like big barrel curls. So I will really just focus again on creating movement through this. Because also most of the density of my hair tends to be right there anyway, so I kind of just have to like figure out how to section it as I go, but I'll probably just do a one turn through most of these. And I'll probably just crimp and fold this one. That way they're not all uniform and sticking together. And then I can go in and just fix the weird shit when I'm done. Alright, so I have gone in and finished most of my head with those same methods. I would finish the top section of my hair, but for the sake of demonstration, I will show you how I use my curling iron. And before I start curling, this is 1.5 inch barrel. This is heating up right now. I don't know what the fuck 30 means. That's not a degree. But 30 is my highest option. On is my lowest option. I have this just on on. I don't like tighter curls. I like mine looser. And I get that consistently on the lower heat settings. And the 1.5 inch barrel is really, really nice. I can make a tighter curl if I want one, or looser. And the way you wind is important. So the tighter your hair is on the barrel, the tighter your curl will be. The looser your hair is on the barrel, the looser your curl will be. Alright, I have created my part. That way we are now on what will absolutely be the topmost layer on each side of my part. Now, curling away from the face still, so clamp in front, curl away, clamp in front, curl away. I cannot stress this enough. Do not pull your ends through the barrel. Leave those out. And I will show you as I cut in doing this. So normally, again, I get my results that I want with my 1 inch straightener, but if you prefer the curling iron, this is how I would go in and use it to do it. So the closer the curl starts to your scalp, the more lift you'll get at that root. And I tend to prefer just a few pieces to be really coily on top. But flyaways in here, smooth those down. I will start this far away and kind of curl towards, loosen the clamp and curl back, loosen to feed, curl back, loosen to feed, curl back. And again, those ends, I don't know if you can see them there, I will never send through. And I like to do different size sections through my top layer, especially because I don't get that weird bulky curl, and I like a looser curl near my face. And I'll actually start this curl a little bit further away from my scalp. And again, I just wrap that around loose. And I like my curls near my face to start a little bit lower. And then I'll come over this side while the rest of that is cooling. And I will pick out my pieces that are laying a little bit straight and pull those out and work on them. So you can see, again, that's where most of my density is, so I'll actually half this and start styling here. With my narrower sections or changing section widths as I go. And again, away from face, loosen the clamp. And that kind of brings the volume up, but I also have just enough layering in here to create dimension so that none of my curls are always sitting in the same place. Again, those ends never go through. So I might want a looser curl here. What I might actually do is work really quick here. Yeah, I want that to just move and blend, knowing that this is all going to cover most of it. And again, here is where I'll get a little bit closer to the scalp, smaller sections and a little bit of a tighter curl, never feeding that end through. I like the smaller, tighter curls every once in a while on the top layer just to create texture and dimension and just kind of switch it up. But so that is pretty good, and I would probably just deem this finished. But right about now is when I would go in with a mirror in another mirror and see what the back looks like and just kind of fix any stragglers. But I'm assuming this looks like what I want it to look like. But at this point, don't comb it. Don't brush it. Don't even take your fingers through it too much. The more you do that, the more the ends separate and grow. I usually only do my claws and zhuzh. Mostly at the root. But if I do it down here, again, just a claw zhuzh. But that is how I do my hair.